Hi, I am Jane Cook, and I'm here to talk to you about barriers that clients and potential clients are facing right now with mental health services. So, while the field of mental health has made significant progress in the act of normalizing receiving professional help, there are still many barriers that individuals in Texas face on a daily basis regarding mental health access. The first barrier I want to bring attention to is in regard to telehealth. In the recent years after COVID-19, we have seen a massive rise in counseling telehealth services. Many individuals are choosing to use an internet-based service to receive counseling rather than going into a physical location. While there are pros and cons to be said about both choices, what I really want to bring your attention to is the access of mental telehealth services to rural communities. Telehealth, especially mental health services, are a need in rural and small communities within Texas. Texas Administrative Code Rule 681.41 M5 states that licensed professional counselors must not provide counseling services to family members, personal friends, educational associates, or business associates. Having a physical practice within a small community is bound to endure legal and ethical situations surrounding dual relationships. Now, while there are already standing telehealth services that can be made available to those in these communities, the quality of those available are subjected to be questioned. We need to call on lawmakers to put forth more regulation and quality standards around mental telehealth within Texas. We also need to work on extending the power grid so that those in rural communities have fair access to internet services. Now, a secondary barrier that somewhat ties in with the previous is increasing mental health coverage with insurance plans. It is known that many insurance plans do not cover mental health services, and when they do, there are very little that are in network, and the whole process can be a daunting task. Individuals who are struggling already with their mental health are now having to navigate through murky waters as to whether they are covered through insurance, what providers are accessible to them if they are even taking new clients, as well as determining which counselors listed are actually in network with their insurance. As many of us know, when you choose a provider, knowingly or not, that is out of network, there's an extra set of stressors that come onto you in terms of paperwork, referrals, and out-of-pocket costs. Texas Administrative Code Rule 681.41 T4 states that a licensed professional counselor may not knowingly overcharge a client. Is it wrong to say that nearly every client who has insurance but has not provided adequate mental health coverage is being overcharged by having to seek out and use self-pay methods? Now, it is not on the counselor for the self-pay charging of the client. It is on lawmakers. It is on insurance providers. Research conducted by the National Alliance of Mental Illness and reported on by the Association of American Medical Colleges states that 1 out of 4 respondents did not have a mental health therapist in their health plan's network. That is 25%. There needs to be a change. Lawmakers and insurance companies need to work on expanding mental health coverage for insurance holders, allowing more providers to accept their insurance, and make the process of finding a therapist in network or out a more seamless process. This can be done through hard work, reform within the system as a whole, and continued advocacy. Moving on to my final point, I would like to speak about the need for increased mental health services provided to college-level athletes. College athletes, especially those in Texas where sports are almost a second form of religion, are subjected to added stressors beyond being a college student. With name, image, and likeness deals rising for these student athletes, some have the added stress of supporting their families as well as themselves. There's an immense amount of pressure that these individuals face on a daily basis, and while there's a plethora of physical health measures at their disposal, there is not an emphasis on mental health. Mental health is still a topic that is greatly stigmatized within sports, especially men's sports. There is research that supports the claim that student athletes have a higher level of stress and behavioral health issues compared to non-athletes. So, what can be done about this? The first is working toward destigmatizing seeking mental health within sports, again, especially men's sports. Coaches should invite counselors in to speak to their athletes about what there is to gain from seeking this help. A different route is having each sports conference, such as the SEC, build a mental health team for each sports team. Just like they have a team of athletic trainers, there can also be a team of licensed professional counselors. Make it the new standard. While there are various barriers that clients and potential clients face, I highlighted these 3 for specific reasons. They cater to the general insured public, to those in rural communities, all the way to Division I athletes. That is all to say that mental health does not discriminate. But by moving forward with policy change, reformation, and calls to action, I'm sure that we will be able to see a positive change in those living with mental health issues. Thank you for your time.